How to find stocks with momentum. In this particular video, I'll show you various ways to find stocks with momentum, because momentum is very important, especially if you're a short-term trader, because you want to be in stocks which have momentum. So in order to find stocks with momentum, we'll look at how to find stocks with momentum on a 6-monthly time frame, 3-month time frame, 1-month time frame, 10 days, 5 days. So let's start with momentum for 6 months. So if you're looking for a stock which has a momentum for 6 months, and I'm going to use telechart for this. So let me go to telechart for this. And when I go to telechart, you will see that I have this particular scan which I created, which is US common stocks, American depository receipt. Liquidity is 100,000 for this, and price is about $3. So you can select any price point which you like, right? So in order to have a 6 months momentum, 6 months is approximately 126 trading days. So 252 trading days. So you're looking at around 126 trading days. One of the ways in which you can create momentum ranking for 6 months is by adding a column here. So you add a column, and that column, you write a formula for that, which is C divided by average C 126. So you have basically, this is, and we can change this to 6 month. So this is 6 month momentum now, and when you put it there, what you will see is that if you rank stocks by this momentum, then you will see that this particular stock is currently ranked number 1 by 6 months momentum, right? So you will find all the stocks which are 6 months momentum by ranking by this particular indicator or by this particular field, right? So now if you want to find the weakest stocks, you just sort it, and you'll find that this is the weakest stock in the market currently by 6 month momentum, Cortezyme or Macquarie or BYSI. So whichever way you want to find stocks with momentum, you can find 6 months momentum by just using a simple scan, and which is basically C by average C 126. Now, if you want to find stocks, a lot of people who are like into position trading, if you're into position trading or you're into longer term swing trading, then you want to find stocks which have 6 months momentum, but for last 1 or 2 months, they've been going sideways. So many times when you sort by 6 months momentum, those stocks which had high momentum 6 months ago and they have pulled back, or they're in consolidation, may not be ranked high. So in order to do that, I'll show you a modification of this 6 months momentum scan, which you can do to find stocks which are in 1, 2, or more than 2 months consolidation, or which had momentum 1 or 2 months ago. So in order to find stocks which had momentum 1 month ago on a 6 month time frame, what we are going to do is we are going to take this same scan, right, and we create another column, and we are going to write a new formula, or we are going to modify this formula. And here what we are going to do is, basically what we are going to do is 1 month is 21 days, so C21. So that was like, and we are calculating this 6 months ranking 21 days ago. And when we do this, I'm just going to make it for simplicity's sake C6 by 21. And if you rank by this particular thing now, what you will see is that the number 1 ranked stock 1 month ago by 6 months momentum was Insignia, and it had a pullback, right? Now, if you keep going through this list and look at stocks, most of the stocks which had 6 months momentum, they have pulled back. But some of the stocks which had 6 months momentum, they are going sideways. So this is a stock which is going sideways, right? Or this stock is going sideways. So if you want to find stocks which had high 6 months momentum but which are consolidating, then you can use a scan or a sorting like the one which I showed you, which is basically essentially 21 days. It's like in a momentum offset by 21 days. It's called momentum which has been offset by 21 days. Now, if you're looking for, say, 2 months basis kind of a thing, right? And you're looking for a stock which had high momentum and now it is basing for 2 months, you can modify this particular thing to create a scan which will be basically, instead of 6 by 21, you can change this to 42 days or 40 days. Let's make it 40 days. 40 days is approximately 2 months. So we're looking for a stock which had high momentum 6 months ago. And so if you do this, what you're going to find is this particular stock, right, is the number one ranked stock. It had a very high momentum 40 days ago. It was number one ranked by 6 months momentum. And this was a stock which had high and it has reversed. So whether you're going to find, whether you want to find bullish stocks or bearish stocks, you want to find stocks which are very strong and breaking down, you can use this. There will be stocks here which had, like, 6 months ago, they had high momentum and they are holding up well. And those are the stocks which you might be interested in if you're one of the position trader or one of the person who's looking for momentum stocks. So the trick really is, if you do this kind of ranking yourself, you're in a much better position because you're not dependent on some site which gives you a relative strength ranking, which you cannot even find out, and which has no reference, or you cannot find what stock was ranked number one by momentum 2 months ago, 1 month ago, or 3 months ago. And this is a 6 month momentum which I am showing you, right? So there are many benefits to doing it this way. So 6 months momentum I shown you, and I'm just going to delete to show you 3 months momentum. Now, if you are looking at 3 months momentum, and if you are a trader who's an intermediate term, or like, and you're looking for swing trading and all, you want to find stocks which have a 3 months momentum, because those are stocks which have just started out momentum or things like that. So in order to have stocks which have 3 months momentum, what you can do is, I'm going to show you two ways to do this. And the two ways to show this will be, like, one is very simple, and which is basically what we did for 6 months momentum was, we said C by average C 126, half of that is C by average C 63, and this is like in a 3 months momentum then. And if you do that, right, you're going to find that the stock which is number one ranked by 3 months momentum is SBEV, BPT, all these stocks. And you can rank them, and you can focus on the top 10% stocks by that. So this is the kind of stocks you could have seen yesterday. You might have decided that this is what I want to watch, and you might be in this stock and you would have made money. So that is, in order to create a watch list, is where this kind of a ranking is very useful, where you can rank stocks by 3 months, 2 months, and all. Now, similarly, you can look for stocks which are very weak by 3 months momentum. So stocks which are very weak by 3 months momentum, these are the stocks which are very weak by 3 months momentum, right? Now, in order to make it like, this is a very simple way to do a 3 months momentum. But if you want to slightly modify that, or have a better momentum indicator, and especially whenever there is a relative strength ranking or a relative momentum, the problem with relative momentum many times, or most of the times, is that it doesn't tell you where the momentum phase started, right? If you're looking at ranking stocks by momentum, it doesn't tell you where the momentum ranking started. So for that, you need a more different way, or you want to find an absolute momentum. So in order to find an absolute momentum, what you can do is you can add a column, add a value column here, and you put in a column saying that one of the ways in which you can develop 3 months, or you can rank momentum, is straightaway price divided by its average price for 126 days. There is another way, and the another way is ratio of two moving averages. So let's look at, like, momentum as a ratio of two moving averages, and that is a good way of creating momentum. So average C7 divided by average C 65 or 63, right, 63 days. If you take that, and that's again a 3 months momentum, but it's a different way of doing 3 months momentum. I call this particular kind of a momentum as trend intensity, and in that particular TI, I actually take 65 days instead of taking 7 days, right? So if you take TI as indicator, again, what you find is that this is a stock which is ranked number 1, number 2, number 3. But here is the advantage, and this is, by the way, while we are looking at this is the kind of a stock which will go into an anticipation list for me in the with the intention that if it breaks out, you want to be in that kind of a stock, right? So this is the kind of relative strength or trend intensity kind of a momentum. Now, the advantage of having this kind of a momentum is that you can find out where a stock entered a momentum phase. Now, here, like say, this is a stock which started going up. You want to know when its momentum phase started. So all that you can do is you can add to this chart a plot, right, and custom percent to do indicator, and this kind of a momentum or this kind of a thing is called as absolute momentum. So average C divided by average C65 is greater than or equal to 1.05. So what you are saying is that when the ratio goes above 1.05 is where the momentum starts, right? And you can make that as green because it's a positive momentum, and you can fill up this with whatever like you want to fill up with, right? And you fill up this. Now what it does is it tells you where exactly the momentum in the stock started. So this is where the stock entered a momentum phase, right? And basically, so that's should be 7 by average C65, right? And that's what. So here, this is where the stock entered into a momentum phase, right? And you can look up any stock, and it tells you where momentum in the stock started. So in this particular stock, the momentum started here. And if you want, especially if you're looking for doing things like young momentum, like this is a momentum which started just a couple of days ago, because this stock entered a momentum phase here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days, the momentum is only 10 days old, right? So this allows you to define a starting point for a momentum, and it can also define an end point for the momentum. Similarly, you can develop a negative side of this particular momentum indicator, where what you'll do is you will add a plot which looks for basically negative side of this momentum, which will be average C7 divided by average C65, and that is less than or equal to 0.95, right? So when you do this and you make this red because that's a negative momentum, and you make this area, and then you can add like say whatever here, right? And you can increase the opacity of that. So if you see, this is where the stock was in a negative momentum phase, right? This is where the momentum phase started, this is where it ended, and then it turned and it entered a positive momentum phase. So once it entered a positive momentum phase, you might want to enter a stock which has entered a positive momentum phase on the first pullback or after a first consolidation, or you want to like only trade stocks which have a young momentum. That means you want to only trade stocks which entered a momentum phase in the last 30 days. Now all those are possible if you do your own momentum ranking and you develop these kind of tools. If you are dependent on someone else's ranking, which like a lot of people are dependent on the IBD relative strength rating, the IBD relative strength rating is a relative ranking. So it doesn't tell you where the stock entered momentum phase. You don't know whether the stock is really like an old momentum or a new momentum. While for making money, you need to know these things. So these are some of the things. Developing your own tools is going to be making you a smarter trader. And then you can add these together on one chart. So this way, let's see many of you people's favorite stock like Tesla. Like say if you look at Tesla now. So what happened is Tesla entered momentum phase here. All this period it was in momentum, and then it entered a negative momentum phase here, right? And it's still in a negative momentum phase. Or like say Apple, right? Apple was in a positive momentum phase. It was in a positive momentum phase. Or like, let's look at Facebook, which a lot of people are going. So it entered negative momentum phase here, and it's been in negative momentum phase. So you might want to decide to play only when the momentum phase is positive, and buy, if you're buying pullbacks, it makes more sense to buy pullbacks in stocks which have a positive momentum, right? Or if you're doing an anticipation, you want to do an anticipation on stocks which have positive momentum. Obviously, in negative momentum, you can look for reversals kind of thing. So those are all the advantages of having these kind of things. Or like, say, PayPal, which is another people's favorite stock, which they are buying for, I don't know for what reason, but like, it's in a negative momentum phase, right? And it's in a negative momentum phase currently. The negative momentum phase started here, then it had a little bit of a rally, that's why. But like in here, since this day, it has been in a negative momentum phase. Whenever stock is in a negative momentum phase, you want to find shorts on that stock, and you want to find shorts as early as possible in the negative momentum phase, like Peloton. Since this particular period has been in a negative momentum phase, and there are multiple opportunities for shorting in that particular period. So again, like, and you can see opportunities here. Fastly went up here, positive momentum phase, it's in a negative momentum phase. So you can like use this particular indicator as an absolute start of a momentum phase, which a relative ranking is not going to give you. So you can create any momentum indicator into an absolute start of a momentum and an end of a momentum kind of a thing. And that way, you know where momentum started and where momentum ended. So I'm going to remove this. This same thing is here. Exactly, this is the same thing I have on my chart here. So that's why I'm removing this. This is exactly same, right? And if you see here, this is average C7 by average C60 by 1.05, right? And this is same thing, right? So you know this. So you can find momentum on 3 months time frame, right? Now, if you're a short-term trader, you want to find stocks which have momentum on a month. On a month, you want to rank stocks which have like a momentum by a month, right? Or 10 days or 5 days. And in order to do that, again, you can like easily create a momentum ranking to find strongest stocks or to find the strongest ETF in the market. In order to create a momentum of 1 month, what we are going to do is we are going to add a column here, add value column, and write a new formula, right? So C divided by average C 25 days in a month, and we'll call it month momentum, right? So there you go, and you find the stocks with the highest 1 month momentum. So this particular stock has the highest 1 month momentum. This stock, obviously, because it gapped up, it has the highest momentum. Or ADGI is a stock which has 1 month momentum, very high, right? Here is a stock which had a 1 month momentum, which is very high. Or like, this is a stock which has a very high 1 month momentum. Or these are the stocks which are going up the most in the last 1 month, right? So that's another way of creating momentum, basically on a 1 month time frame. And that is the kind of opportunity. Then you look for a stock which has a high momentum on a 1 month basis and which is going sideways, or bull flag, or these kind of patterns is what you're looking for entry, right? Or a pullback. The first pullback after a stock had a high momentum is what a lot of people look for. So you can create this ranking yourself, and it's very useful when you know how to do these things yourself, right? So select quote is the one which is going down, Gato, ETNB. So again, in order to find shorts, same way you can use momentum to find stocks which are starting out. Now this particular momentum, again, 1 month momentum, you want to find a stock which had 1 month momentum, high 1 month momentum 10 days ago, which you can find also. It's not very difficult. All that you need to do for doing that is, again, very easily, you just put in like a column, write new formula, So C, you want to find 10 days ago, C10 divided by average C 25 by 10, right? It is calculating momentum for a month 10 days ago. So we'll just make this as M divided by 10, right? Just for our own reference, and we'll just like so when you do this, what you're going to find is that, so when we did this, this is the stock which was ranked number one by like a momentum, right? This is the number two, right? But by M10, when you do it by M10, what you're going to find is stock which had momentum 10 days ago. So these are stocks which had high momentum 10 days ago, right? So this stock was going up here 10 days, but now it is going down. This stock 10 days ago had a momentum, but then it pulled back, right? And this stock had 10 days ago momentum. This stock had momentum 10 days ago, now it is in a pullback. So if you're looking for pullback, you want to find stocks which had high momentum 10 days ago or 5 days ago. And you can play around with this time frame. You want like in a stock which were like up to 7 days ago or 6 days ago or 5 days ago, you can just change that to 7 days and 7 days, and you can find momentum 7 days ago. And because it's a dynamic thing, it's going to keep changing, right? Basically, so you're going to find stocks which had momentum 7 or 10 days ago, right? I think there is something wrong in that, because that doesn't make sense to me, because it made say 70. See, that's why like I could immediately figure out. So this is say 7 by average C, and when you do that, what you're going to do, what you're going to get is stocks which had momentum 7 days ago or ranked high by momentum 7 days ago, and which is either having a pullback or having a consolidation. You want to find those stocks, or they're reversing. So you can find those kind of stocks. So for short-term traders, a 1 month momentum can be a good way of finding stocks with momentum. Now, so again, I'm going to just take this out just for like an showing, but I showed you month, 6 months and all, just to not take up too much space here. So what I'm going to do is like, you want to find momentum for 10 days. So all that you need to do is C divided by average C 10 days, right? And then you got a 10 days momentum. And when you do that, what you're going to find is ecology, because it gapped up today. Or these are the stocks which have just started momentum, right? These are all stocks. And you might notice something like these are not the stocks which are holding up the best. These are stocks near the bottom. They are the one which are going up, right? Which is the typical behavior of the stock market. When there is a correction, you'll see stocks from bottom starting to move. So these are stocks which have good 10-day momentum. Similarly, you can do a 5-day momentum, and that's the way you can do this, right? Now, once you understand how to do momentum, you will be able to find a lot of trading opportunities. Like if you are supposing a trader who wants to do a longer term trading, right? And a longer term, like you want to find stocks which are at high momentum, but which had developed a base for say 1 month or 2 months or 1.5 months, then you will operate on a 6 months momentum. Okay, if you are one of those traders who want to look at a stock which had a momentum 3 months ago and which is going sideways for 2 weeks, then you'll operate on a 3 months momentum. If you're one of the traders who's like looking for short-term 3, 4, 5 days hold, and you want to create a watch list of stocks likely to break out and enter them as they're breaking out, then in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to operate on a 1 month momentum or a 10 days momentum, or you're one of the mean reversion kind of a trader who wants to find stocks which had very strong momentum in the last 5 days. You can create a momentum ranking to find stocks which had very high momentum on 5 days. And this way you can create so many momentum indicators of your own, or momentum based methodologies or momentum based setups. And momentum based setups and momentum based methodologies like this, the advantage is going to be that you are always exposing your money to the fastest moving stocks in the market, right? By exposing your money to the stocks which are moving fastest, if it works, you're going to make money at a faster rate compared to buying a slow moving stock. Similarly, you can avoid stocks which are going nowhere or they're going down because they have negative momentum. You want to short stocks, which are going down rapidly. You don't want to be shorting stocks which are going nowhere. So all those kind of advantages are there to developing momentum based ranking. And there are many ways to do this. This is just to explain to you a concept. I showed you this. We have a lot more momentum kind of things which we use. There are a lot of like momentum indicators which you can create, and those indicators are going to help you. Like these are some of the indicators which I use basically. So ROC5, which is a 5-day momentum, 10-day momentum, 25 days momentum, TI65, which is what I showed you just now, MDT. So these are some of the momentum indicators which I use, right? And for my own trading, and in this particular thing, I have momentum indicators like ROC5, which is a 5 days momentum, or a 10 days momentum, or a 25 day, which is a month momentum, or a 3 months, or MDT, which is what I just showed you, which is a 6 months momentum, right? MDT displaced by 1 month, which is what I showed you, which is a momentum which is displaced by 1 month, right? And this way you can create so many momentum indicators, and then you can decide, look, I'm going to focus on stocks which are in the uh, top 200 by momentum, right? Because those are where there is a lot of opportunity, right? So if I select stocks which are top 200 by momentum and then only focus on them, and then I can find stocks which are having a good pullback. I can find stocks which are having a good anticipation or they are setting up for likely breakout, and I can create a watch list from this. And that way you can come into a day with a watch list of momentum stocks which are likely to break out or which are likely to go. Similarly, you can use momentum to find reversal shorts, or you can find shorts using momentum. There, one of the advantage of understanding momentum is also that you can use the momentum to put it on your chart, and if you put it on your chart, you can know where the momentum started and where the momentum is ending, kind of a thing, right? So that's another advantage which you always have if you are doing this. Was on a monthly chart, this is on a daily chart, right? So you know where the momentum started, right? Similarly, you can put momentum of longer duration on a chart, right? And so supposing you have a stock like Tesla, right? This is how it looks on a 3 months momentum basis, and this is how it looks on a 6 months momentum basis. Like if you put a momentum, this is a 6 months momentum of absolute momentum where a momentum started, right? So these are all the ways and means by which you can create momentum and find momentum. Now, before I end this video, I'm going to show you another momentum which is like very good way of finding momentum, in which is here on this chart. One of the ways of finding momentum is by looking at a reference point which is not average price of the stock. It's a momentum which is anchored to a particular price. It's called an anchored momentum. So anchored momentum, you anchor your price to a particular date, or you anchor it to a particular low or a high. So if you look at, like, say, currently the year has started, right? And the year has started, and YTD, you want to see which stocks had the biggest move, YTD. Now this kind of a momentum where you're looking at YTD, which is something which you will find it's there in the TC2000 as a system criteria itself, right? Now this is a anchored momentum, and the anchor point for this momentum is the first trading day of the year. So the first trading day of the year is where this momentum has been anchored to, right? So you know, okay, these are the stocks which have been going up, and many stocks are already up 50% plus. Bunch of stocks are up 50% plus, and so this tells you, look, which are the biggest winner for the year, and you can focus on only stocks which by YTD are up, top 100 stocks by YTD, and you should be able to find a lot more trading opportunities. So this kind of a momentum is called an anchored momentum. You can also create an anchored momentum in a different way, and there are advantages to it. Many of you must have heard of Nicholas Darva's book, which How I Made 2 Million Trading. And in that book, what he talks about is the box theory and things like that. But the momentum which he was using there is a momentum which is anchored to 52-week low, because what he was doing is he was going through the Barron's table. When he was going through the Barron's table, he was looking for a stock, and he was looking at the 52-week high and 52-week low prices, and he was only interested in a stock whose 52-week high was 2 times the 52-week low. So he was anchoring the momentum to 52-week low. Now, how can you create a momentum like this? Very easily you can create a momentum like this, which is like, and basically what you can do is you can create a ranking for momentum, okay, where you anchor that momentum to a 52-week low. So you're going to write momentum as C divided by mean C 252. So mean C 252 means like the the lowest price in last 252 trading days, or 52-week low, right? And that price, or you can make that, if you really want a low as the price, you can make that as a mean low. So once you create this, and let's call this like Darva's momentum, right? And Darva's momentum DM, right? And you create that momentum, which is anchored. Now this momentum has been anchored to the 52-week low, right? So this particular stock from its 52-week low has gone up 1100 times, or it has gone up like so. This is a momentum which is anchored to 52-week low. So when I couple of days ago or weeks ago, I showed you a video where I said, like, and look, coming out of the 2009 bottom, stocks which had beaten down the most were the one which made the biggest move. Now, how are you going to find those kind of stock? You are going to find them by using anchored momentum. So if you sort by anchored momentum, it is possible. So anchored momentum is basically a momentum where you're anchoring it to a particular point. So in this case, you're anchoring it to a 52-week low. Similarly, you can create a reverse of this, and that reverse of this will be like you anchor the momentum to the high. So if you're looking for stocks which are like basically gone down a lot, right? Or which are like going down from their 52-week high. So you can write max high 252, right? So divided by C, and you can call this like an H for lack of better word, right? So if a stock has high H value or high anchored momentum from 52-week high, what does it tell you? It tells you that this particular stock from its anchored momentum is ranked number one in terms of it has gone down the most from its 52-week high. This stock has gone down the most from its 52-week high. Similarly, this stock has gone down the most from its 52-week high, because you see 52-week high was here, right? TAL education. So if you're looking for weakest stocks, you can find stocks which are down a lot from their 52-week high. So knowing anchored momentum, you can find stocks which are weak or which are strong, and that can help you a lot, because if you're looking for stocks which are very strong from 52-week low, you can find stocks which have gone up a lot from a 52-week low, right? And this stock has gone up a lot from 52-week low. So anchored momentum is another way of doing things. And there are many ways in which you can use momentum. If you want to understand momentum, I highly recommend that you create some of these momentum indicators. Look at the stocks which go up most, go down most, and think about how you can use this to build trading methods. Now, if you know this anchored momentum, now here on this particular thing, what I've done is like I put an anchored momentum on the chart saying, look, the stock from its 52-week low has to be up 80%. That's when like Darvas was looking for stocks which were basically up which had doubled from its 52 weeks. So if you see, like, and this is where it doubled, right? And that's what you are going to, or like, and if you're looking for the anchored momentum from the high, this is like in stocks which have gone down 50% plus from their 52-week high. So the Peloton is down 52%, 50% plus. So there are many ways to use momentum. I have many momentum indicators like this. I have many momentum based things which I use, and in subsequent videos I will show you various ways of using momentum. This is just one way. So if you have any comments, or if you have any doubts about momentum, or you want to know more about momentum, put your questions in the comment. If you put it in the comment, I will make a video in few days or next week answering your questions about momentum. Specific questions you have about momentum, how to use momentum, how to set up momentum in IntelliChart, or how to use momentum, leave it in the comments below. And then you will see that if you become good at understanding momentum, the momentum is the most persistent tendency of stock market. And across any country, across time frame, momentum has been proven to be the number one anomaly in the stock market. So building a good foundation of understanding momentum, understanding relative momentum, understanding absolute momentum, understanding anchored momentum, understanding how to use momentum will make you a highly profitable trader. So leave your comments below or any questions below on momentum, and I'll be very happy to answer your questions on momentum.